Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ice HQ Ice Rink in Reservoir, Melbourne, Australia. On Warranjoy, Woiwurrung Traditional Land, it's the Ice HQ Pro League Women's League. It's grand final night here in Reservoir. Hockey night is Friday night, and tonight is a grand final night. And it will be between the Reservoir Dogs in the black and the Inferno in the white. I'm Carl Brewer, and joining me this evening once again will be the most erudite Anton Goss, a man of few words, and we will have interviews later on with Tarina Lee between the second and the third period. Tonight's the fifth time these two teams have met this season, but this is the one that counts. It's the grand final. I can keep saying that over and over until I get sick of it. The format, period 1 and period 2, there will be no cut, a 2-minute break between the two periods. There will be an ice cut between the second and third period. If the game goes to a tie, there will be 3 minutes of 3-on-3 sudden death overtime. And if it's still tied at the end of that, we will have a penalty shootout to decide the result. So no matter what happens, there will be a grand final trophy awarded this evening. It will happen without a doubt. Round 1, the Dogs won 4-1. Round 2, the Dogs won 5-2. In round 3, the Dogs won 1-0. And in round 4, the Dogs won 4-3. So the last couple of margins tightening right up. Only 1 goal apiece margin to the Dogs in the last 2 games that they've played. The Dogs have struggled without Danny Butler in round 4. The Inferno will unfortunately not have Christina Julian tonight, which makes the Dogs firm favourites. And the Inferno, definitely the underdogs. Gossy, what's going to happen?
Well, someone's going to win a championship tonight,
true, yes.
And that's what makes tonight super exciting. These women, they've been playing all season, playing hard. The Inferno battling strong and really showing that they deserve to be here last time out against the Snipers. If you look down the way of the Dogs, this is somewhere where they're used to being. 2 seasons so far, 2 finals. They won quite comfortably last year. And if you combine the Women's Pro League with the Men's Pro League, it kind of seems like the Dogs trophy where they've won 3 out of the 4 times that it's been awarded.
It's been a dog show, that's for sure.
What's going to be interesting tonight is we're looking at 2 of the most amazing goaltenders that this country has in the program. On one side, you have from the Inferno, Janelle Carson, who has played outstanding. Part of the reason why her team is actually here in the grand final tonight. She has a sparkling .99 goals against average with a .959 save percentage. Just put that into perspective. She's averaging less than a goal a game, which is quite crazy. But if you look down the other end, you got Kayla Best, and her last name kind of is a little bit telling because she typically is the best goaltender on the ice when she's out there, and she as well is playing with a 1.24 goals against average and a .929 save percentage. So again, what's the story tonight? Are we going to be able to score? Are we going to see goals? Is it going to be a goal fest? Is it going to be a short margin? If you go back to some of those games that you were talking about, Carl, we've seen both, right? We've seen a 4-3 last time out, 1-0 the time before then. I think whoever starts early is really going to dictate how this game's going to go. I hope they go all for leather.
That's absolutely true, Gossy. One of the things the Inferno have let themselves down on a couple of occasions throughout the season is they've been slow off the mark. Their coach, Nicholas Drucki's aware of that. He knows they've got to come out in this first period absolutely flying, as the Dogs will grind them down if they can, and they've done so in the past on many occasions. And the Inferno haven't been able to beat them this season, but none of them matter until now. Tonight is the one that counts. For the Inferno, they are going to desperately need Lucy Parrington to start firing on the net and scoring some goals, because the one thing they're missing without Julian is a goal scorer. They defend very, very well indeed, especially with Carson in goal. And it's goalies that win championships ultimately. I hate saying it, but it is true. Goalies win championships.
Hallelujah, everyone. You hear that? Carl praising a goaltender.
It is absolutely true.
People can change.
But they can, absolutely. Usually they're underwear, but at least hopefully. But what the Inferno desperately need someone to score, because the Dogs, well, they have Danny Butler, and she is the number 1 goal scorer in the league, and they've got Shana Godfrey, who's the number 2 goal scorer in the league, and they've probably got the best playmaker in Cochrane as well. So.
And what a great start for those 3. They really are the line that drives everything for the Dogs, and they have for the last 2 seasons. And with the way that it works, with being able to keep your players, this line, someone's going to have to come up for an answer for them. And here we are, Lucy Parrington facing off against Butler, and it's 1 here for the Dogs. Interesting to know as well, without Julian on the ice, who only played 2 games, she led the Inferno, was actually 3rd in scoring this season.
Yep, with 7 goals in 2 games.
With 7 goals in 2 games. But next to that is Court Mahoney, who's done very well this season, really elevating from where she was last year. So they're going to lean on her. They're going to lean on Mendham as well as Parrington. And I'm really excited to see Yo-Yo Meisner on the point, and right on cue, there it is on her stick.
Harrington winning that face-off nicely, got it back to Meissner, but unfortunately for the Inferno, they can't keep it in this time around, but they did have the first chance for an offensive zone face-off.
So here's Meissner coming in on the off wing, tried to drop it there for Cameron, or Yates. Stopped there by Dutton, over in front for Mendham, who just couldn't chip that pass. Pullen. Danny Butler just chips that forward, and Cochrane gives chase. Butler cycles that back down for the Dogs. Cochrane in the far side corner, battling with the Inferno. It pops right back to Cochrane, who did get that in front of Godfrey, but wasn't able to get a shot. Pullen, though, will take that, and that went right off the skate of Tara Yates. So a frenetic start here. It's on the stick of the quick Marnie Pullen, who got that up to the captain, Sharna Godfrey, and the first change of the game has started here for the Dogs, as fresh off the bench is Gagnac. Poppy Kelly just had to stop up there to prevent going offside. Puck shifted across there by Crawley, but stolen by Gallagher, one of the great star defensemen here for the Dogs. Shot wide is going to be picked up by the captain, Carson, here for the Inferno, who was able to chip that up for Crawley. She just turns away, but can't get it past Marion. Poppy Kelly does pop it out into the neutral zone, but first back is Briar Johnson, who's been a revelation on defense this season, making the switch from forward where she played last season.
Mendham this has been a real breakout year for her. She has been superb starting off this season very effectively for the Dogs. It's great to see how she's progressed.
Johnson behind the net, has it on the forehand, heads up, just curls away from the pressure of Kelly and rims that around the board over for Aguirre-Thabo. Aguirre-Thabo centered that one and went all the way across the ice, picked up by Marion, who just cycles it back there for Gagnac, and the Dogs change, which is going to allow Braun Cashin, fan favorite, to come into the zone. Takes it to the backhand, but couldn't get past.
Some good sustained pressure here for the Inferno. This is the start that they needed.
Oh, what a move.
They've got a lot of pressure on the Dogs at the moment.
Yo-Yo Meissner breaks through and just unfortunately just threw that lightly on net after a great move in the neutral zone to create some space. She's in on the forecheck now and forces an errant pass by Cochrane, but it is picked up by Godfrey, and she's one-on-one. She's got Butler to the net. Butler on the forehand and shot that one wide, but picked up the rebound. Dutton stole that, though, and was able to chip it up over to Parrington, and the Inferno now will exit the zone after the big line for the Dogs had a great scoring opportunity.
Parrington just dumps it deep into the corner. She had pressure and needed to get a change in a hurry. Good play there by Parrington, but it's given the Dogs a great opportunity now to break out in numbers.
And here comes Cochrane after a nice pass by Cameron. She takes it wide, centers it for Butler, and she shot that right off the ankle of her teammate Godfrey, who went back behind the net.
Godfrey will be feeling that one for a while, but it was great positioning there by Butler to get herself in the slot.
And they score! Butler walking out of the corner, sent it over to Godfrey, who made no mistake short side, and just like that, the Dogs, on their first shot of the game, go up 1-0 here in the grand final against the Inferno.
What's the positioning here of the Dogs' defense, of the Dogs' forwards?
Ooh.
They're sneaking in behind everyone.
That's a tough one. You can see there, I think Janelle Carson looking at the ref, that net was definitely off, and off by quite a distance before that puck went in the net.
The rule, however, is that the puck has to go where the goal would have been. And in that case, the puck's quite clearly crossed the middle of the line. So the referee's making the right call there on the goal. And the Inferno have got to pick up those loose players behind the slot, or the Dogs are just going to do that all night. They've a good start, the Inferno, but that's not the goal they wanted.
So the top dogs for the Reservoir Dogs get on the score sheet. It's the captain, Godfrey, shoveling it in after a pass from the leading scorer, Danny Butler. You can hear in-arena announcer Jane calling that one there as the Dogs dump that into the corner. Carson holds that one up, and it gets shoveled into the far side. First to it will be an Inferno player, and it's Braun Cashin shoveling that up for Crawley, who gets it into the neutral zone. Poppy Kelly will pick that one up, and Julia Tran forces her just to dump it in. Shots 1-1, but the score 1-0 after that early Dogs goal by Godfrey. Here comes Marnie Pullen with speed. She's hooked up there by Crawley, but still has the puck on her stick. Takes it wide, looks to bring it around, stops up, waits for a teammate, centers it, and that was Butler who wasn't able to shoot that on net. Butler curls right out of the corner, so pretty. Wines takes a shot. Rebound save there by Carson as Butler walks out the other side looking for Marion.
Carson doing a great job of keeping the Inferno in the game there. That was a a great opportunity for the Dogs. But now the Inferno come blasting back. They've got some space.
Here's Crawley winding up, taking a shot, saved by Best. Rebound there for Kelly, and Best is down, and the whistle goes as Kayla Best forced to make her best save of the game.
Crawley with a good piece of creative play through the top of the attacking zone. She made a lot of room, created that chance, but Dogs getting back in numbers, and they're owning that space in front of the slot. At this point in time, probably a little bit better than the Inferno. That's why the Inferno gave that goal away. They've got to make sure they own that space and don't let players get loose in the slot, because that's where they're dirty goals, but dirty goals count.
Just going to keep an eye down on the net side for the Inferno. That's linesman Wally just fixing up that post. It popped off once again quickly after that one on that goal, so I think Janelle Carson going to be wary. Not going to be able to have too much power pushing right to left. Here's Cochran, though, with speed, blowing past Carson, coming in on Blondin, takes it wide, had the puck knocked off her stick, but able to find Godfrey behind the net. She went to center it. It's loose in the neutral zone. Blondin able to separate that, and now will skate it out into the neutral zone.
Blondin found Mendham. Mendham, unfortunately, for her, ran straight into. She's still got the puck, Mendham.
Shot scores! Just like that, the Inferno tie it up after a great forecheck here by Britt Mendham, who's able to steal it and just put it through the legs of Kayla Best, and the Inferno tie it 1-1 here with just over 11 minutes remaining.
You can see there, she just managed to get past Bri Johnson, who looked like she probably had the puck, but Mendham just kept going. And not quite sure how she managed to get it through, but she did, and then the goaltender not able to finish that one off, and we are tied up at 1 goal apiece.
Sharna Godfrey, captain here for the Dogs, having a chat. I think a little bit overhand pass or something there on the ice, but the goal counts, just like Janelle Carson was having something to say over the first one. So 2 controversial goals, and they wipe each other out. We're back the way we started, 1-1 here in the first period.
I think it's very important for the Inferno to get that goal. They've got to prove that they can score without Julian on the ice, and they just did, and that's what they need.
Here's Danny Butler with speed, coming in on Meisner. Meisner, nice job to stay on her feet. Blowing passes, Butler takes a shot, puck's loose, not able to shovel that in was Cochran as it was there, begging to be shoveled in past the goal line.
Dutton was there back where she needed to be for the Inferno and got onto it and cleared it out. Not as far as they needed at the moment. They're still stuck behind the net, the Inferno with the Dogs with the puck.
Marion on the point, collects that pass from Butler, sends it in front to Cochran, who takes a shot and a blocking arm save there by Carson.
Cochran with way too much time and space there. The Inferno trying to double up on players on the boards. They've got to fix that, otherwise the Dogs are just going to keep happening through the slot.
Interesting to see as well tonight. We've got Grigalunas playing on the point, where we normally see her playing a center role on that second line. So a little bit of juggling here, but she's looking good on the back end here for the Dogs so far. Centering pass intercepted by Poppy Kelly. Tried to shovel that in the corner, but collected by the veteran, Steph Cochran.
Cochran was trying to set up Agrathabel, so Gagnac, but didn't quite get it past the very observant Georgia
Carson up to Crawley. Has the puck knocked off her stick by Agrathabel, and skating to it first are the Dogs. Carson rims that around, gets it up, and the chase is on, but not able to get any purchase on it. Was Braun Cash, and the Dogs send the Inferno back into their zone.
Tran with immaculate timing there too. She does a beautiful job of managing that space for the Dogs. One thing that we forget about is how effective the Dogs' defense really is.
Agrathabel in the corner, picks it up, goes to center it. It's knocked off her stick by Crawley. Danny Butler, though, walks right out, backhands and scores. You can't give Danny Butler space like that because she'll punish you. And she scores the second goal for the Dogs here as they're up 2-1 early in the first period.
And we'll see this one from the replay. Butler comes around the back of the net, and the Snipers just not quite strong enough to hold their position. You've really got to get in that player's way. It's not a non-checking league, so it's not a non-contact league, it's a non-checking league, but you are allowed to hold your ground and contest the puck. So the Inferno will need to be just a little bit more physical there in front of the slot to stop Butler from doing that again.
So interestingly, the Dogs deciding to play the grand final with 6 forwards and 6 D. So really trying to get these three, as you coined it, the housemate line, out here more often than not. And we can already see early in the first period they're doing damage with 2 quick goals.
We do have shots on the net. There's only 5 shots to 4 to the Inferno. So it's close in that regard, and the Inferno have made some pretty good opportunities.
Gallagher winds in the slot, kick save there by Carson. Butler, who's got 2 points tonight, a goal and an assist, draws a penalty as Yo-Yo Meisner is going to be going for 2 or less for the hook. As you can see what she thinks about that one.
Well, one of the reasons why the penalties will happen in this game is because the Inferno, they know that they can't let Butler move, and so they'll do almost anything, and you get a bit frustrated, and sometimes you've just got to surf right on the raggedy edge of what the rules will allow. Sometimes you can get away with the hook, sometimes you can't, and you've got to find some way to slow her down and get in her way and deny her opportunities. And sometimes you're going to run afoul of the rules.
If I was Nicholas Druga here for the Inferno bench, I'd be saying take a look at Butler, because all season she's done the exact same thing, and she's punished them twice where she's just able to walk out of that corner. You can't let her do that because she's going to score every time. And there's Godfrey not able to get the one-timer. She'll collect it behind the net. She'll look to give it to the point. She's got Gallagher, and she does find her. Gallagher just plays catch and sends it down to Cochran. Over to Godfrey. Godfrey in for Butler. Butler shot, and that one goes wide.
Sniper's doing a good job of owning that space this time. They've set up a nice box defence. Parrington putting pressure on the Dogs while they reset the breakout. So reset the power play.
Missed pass there by Johnson, forces the Dogs back. Chasing is Mendham. Johnson able to get that forward, just chip past Cochran, and the Inferno are going to shoot that back down and kill some valuable seconds off this power play. Gallagher, nice move to evade the stick check by Cashin, sends it over to Godfrey. She crosses the blue line, dangerously stick handling in a phone booth. Shot and a save there by Carson as Sharna Godfrey showed her moves. Godfrey back to Butler, and that deflected off her stick, and the Inferno now through Cashin will exit the zone.
Cashin chips a bouncer down towards Michaela Best there in the net, who elects to play the puck on and keep it alive. Just 30 seconds to go on the Meisner penalty.
Cameron passes that up to Gagnac. Pushed away by Poppy Kelly. Cochran will dump that in, and she'll go for a change and finish off this wholesale changes here for the Dogs. So a positive for the Inferno. They're able to get through a shift of the big line without letting one in the back of the net. Here's Aguirre-Thabo looking to center it. Blondin blocked that one. Gagnac will pick it up behind the net. Marion tied up with Dutton. Meisner out on the ice, and look at her skate. She's got the legs. She'll come into the zone. Dutton ties it up. Poppy Kelly comes in for support. This is the line that the Inferno really got to dominate against. Every second in their defensive zone hurts, knowing that the top line of the Dogs are ready to come right off the bench.
Well, so just the two lines, though, they may start to feel the fatigue, but maybe they're all looking the slightly different format tonight with a long break between periods 2 and 3, and we've got too many players on the bench. Penalty perhaps here by the look of it.
I think that was an icing.
No, it's
penalty.
an icing, but just certainly the look between the referee and the coach of the Dogs was suggesting that may have been the case, but no. So one of the things that the Dogs will have to be mindful of is because they're running the 2 forward lines, they will get tired. But there is a cut between periods in 2 and 3, so they get a chance to recover. The Inferno, by comparison, they've only got 2 lines, so here we are. They're going to get tired.
This is the chance, a tired second line on for the Dogs, but Kayla Best able to cover that one up, and
now the Dogs change.
That they do.
Have a look at how the Dogs are setting up here on their the defensive zone face-off and where they position their players. They're putting all of their 2 wingers and their D right in front of the slot in a fairly common setup, and watch them blast straight through. And Godfrey does and picks up that puck straight out of the playbook, finds Cochran, who gets past everyone.
Oh, nice job just to shovel that forward. She's got Godfrey going to the net. She's going to shoot, and a save there by Carson. Butler, though, will get the rebound. Meisner comes in for support but wasn't able to get it past Godfrey. Walking out again is Butler, who takes a shot and force another good save there by Carson. Godfrey was tripped up behind the net, but the arm stays down as Carson covers up, and no doubt we're going to have some words from the Dogs captain for sure, asking where the penalty was.
What we just saw in that last face-off was a classic example of a set play from a defensive zone face-off where you have your wingers coming up quickly through behind the face-off dot, and they pick up the trash, and that was Godfrey who got it straight away up to Cochran, and they made a beautiful breakout and a great scoring opportunity. And that rapid turnaround, it catches the opposition D up high on their heels, and you often create numerical advantage on the attack, and they did it beautifully there, the Dogs.
Pucks come back to the point for Pullen. Not able to get it past Parrington, but keeps it in the zone. Shovels that deep for Butler, who gives it down to Godfrey. Walks out, takes a shot, saved by Carson. Godfrey still with it, though. She's got Butler. Finds her in the slot, takes a shot, and deflected aside, and a whistle goes.
Watch here on the replay how quickly Parrington sees the threat. She's realised that she cannot give Butler that space, and so as soon as the pass came across to her, Parrington was in her face with lifting his stick up off the ice, and we still have an issue ongoing with the net by the look of it.
Now we're having a timeout here as it's the third time this period that right post has popped off the mooring, and the officials here are going to try their best to fix that up so that it doesn't affect the score line.
So these particular goals, the way they work is there's a metal post with a little spike on the bottom of it that goes into the ice and then slides up into the bottom of the leg of the goal. And a goalie can quite often move that themselves because they often will push off those posts and they can be moved. But if the ice under there is a bit soft, or maybe the post went in a little bit early, or the hole slightly stretched, then the post will move more quickly than it otherwise would. And that is probably what's happening now. We're not actually seeing what's happening there on the ice from here, but that's probably what happened. But yeah, watch again. If you could just roll the video back if you can, and have a look at how well Parrington picked up. I'll get there in a second. Picked up Butler and made sure that she didn't get a chance for a clean shot because she was skating across in that slot area, which is where the most goals are scored. And Parrington was there, lift the stick up in the air, no goals. You're not scoring on my watch. Not on this opportunity anyway. So great play by Parrington to deny Butler that opportunity.
And here we are back underway. Just 2 minutes and a half remaining here in the first period. Puck's on the point with Tran. Sends it down to Cochran. Just curls away from Carson. Cochran on the half wall, centering in for Godfrey. Had the puck knocked off her stick by Meisner, and out comes Mendham, but has her pocket picked by the captain. Godfrey, nice move, winds, shot, save. Carson goes to shovel in, and the whistle goes, and it's waved off as Janelle Carson able to make the save. We'll see this on the CCM all-out replay. Godfrey with the first shot. She had Butler standing right in the net, and it does slide through, although it looks like the official had already made the call. So
possibly a bit of goaltender interference. There was a
100%
dog in the slot standing right there in front of Carson, inhibiting her motion. So no matter what happened to that puck,
the old player button your face, pushing you into your own net.
Yep,
yeah, I see that. That's a beer league special.
That's not going to fly, and not when there's a referee there paying attention anyway.
Alrighty, so face-off won by the Inferno. They trail by 1 here late in the first period, and fan favorite Bron Cashin brings that into the offensive zone. She's stopped up, centers that across the slot area, misses everyone, and Kelly centers that back up. Found Cashin. Crawley over to Kelly. Kelly not able to get it past Gallagher. Cashin with a shot right off the twig there of Best as
great shot there by Cashin.
Cashin came close.
Not even sure the Best saw that one coming until the last minute.
Garrett Thabel not able to exit the zone. Cashin, great job to keep that in. It comes through the slot area, and the youngster Briar Johnson, always cool, calm, and collected, will look to skate this out of the defensive zone. And here she goes. She passes 1 line, passes 2, passes 3. Can she go end to end? Johnson winds, shots, and fans on that one as Briar Johnson nearly went from behind her own net all the way to glory.
She went coast to coast but left the puck behind in the last. So it was a good piece of play up until that point. But probably got a little bit too excited and then decided the puck wasn't going to go with her. Just 10 seconds to go now in the first. Dogs keeping the puck in, but now the Inferno will clear it back out. And it's Johnson again, this time trying to do the same trick, but being watched by 3 bodies. So that wasn't going to fly, and that winds up the first period. At the end of the first, we have a 2-1 lead to the Dogs. Godfrey with the first one from Butler. Mendham getting one back with a beautiful piece of play about halfway through the period to square it all up at 1 goal apiece. But Danny Butler finding room around the back of the net and being given a bit too much space by the Inferno gave the Dogs a 2-1 lead at the end of the first. Meissner with 2 minutes for hooking, trying to put the brakes on Butler, but in that instance not quite getting away with it. The ice tilting a little bit in the Dogs' favour. We have 12 shots on the net to 6 to the Inferno. The Inferno with a couple of really good opportunities, a very nice one with about 90 seconds or so to go to everyone's favourite here in Bron Cashin, who got a nice shot from the high slide after some good play, trying to set up a good opportunity. She made an earlier play on that one as well, got the puck across the front of the net, but unfortunately her line mate's not quite able to get someone in the slot to pick it up. But she did get a really nice shot in from the distance, and it was Best at her best, keeping that one out of the net. Gossie, a pretty exciting first period.
Very. The Inferno great to get back into that game with that goal. You saw what it meant to the team. Coming into this, 2-1. Again, not able to find an answer so far for Butler and Godfrey and Cochrane. They're going to have to stop Butler from being able to walk out of that corner if they're going to win this game. But if Nick Drugay could have been told 2-1 after being outshot 12-6, I think he'd be happy with that so far.
He'd certainly be very happy with the performance of Janelle Carson in net. She's doing a superb job, as you would expect her to do. 12 shots for 2 goals, though. She wouldn't like that, but there wasn't much she could do about them. She needs her D to really own that space in front of the net with a little bit more ferocity. They need to be a little bit more physical to stop Butler in particular, and Godfrey will start taking advantage of that too. She's had a couple of times when she's been unmarked in that area, and the Inferno are starting to realise that, and you've got Parrington. She's seeing it and shutting it down very, very quickly. But they'll need all of their D to really jump on that early and make sure they just don't give them that room. It's always got to be contested space.
I was wondering why we hadn't seen any Infernos galloping through the center of that ice. And not only are they missing Christina Julian, but they are also missing Court Mahoney.
Yep.
So big task here for the Inferno team, but they only trail by 1. I'm looking for Lucy Parrington and Yo-Yo Meisner to have a big second period to get on the score sheet to add to Britt Mendham's first period tally.
I know Mendham's been effective as well so far, but cross the pass to Godfrey, not quite complete. It's a good option, but Dutton goes back to clean it up for the Infernos. You've got a lot of time, has a look and lobs the puck up the ice.
Stopped up by Cameron, comes through, takes a shot. Fanned on that one, and here's Lucy Parrington now skating with speed through the neutral zone. Takes a bouncer in, and that luckily knocked off the stick there by Best as that one bounced just the perfect height to go over the pad.
I think it might have deflected off Marnie Pullen's stick too. Might have just got a little bit on it.
Kept in here by the Inferno. It's Meisner not able to clear it past Godfrey, and now here come the Dogs. Captain Sharna Godfrey winds, shoots, and just misses short side.
That was magnificent goaltending there by Carson. She saw the 2-on-1 threat. She had to take the first shot and did. Godfrey went high and left on her shoulder on her blocker, but Carson got in the way of it. Very nice save indeed.
Godfrey tried to find Butler that time. It's just tied up in the neutral zone. Lucy Parrington comes out on it, and she comes in here on Grigalunas. Shot deflected off the stick of the defender, and now picked up by Danny Butler, who is going to try to gain speed out of the defensive zone. Meisner keeps it in on the blue line. Watched by Pullen. Turns, and Pullen wins out that battle. Butler now 1-on-3 as she enters the Inferno zone. Stickles handles left, right. Not able to get past Meisner, though, as she took down the Dog superstar.
Meisner will be doing her second 2 minutes in the box there for most likely a trip. We'll probably see a trip called on. The referees have no discretion.
If you take a look at that on the all-out replay, though, I mean, Meisner just kind of like lifted the stick, and it looked like Butler tried to get around her and fell. I mean, it's a borderline. Could have gone either way, if you ask me.
Refs have no discretion if a trip is given for them, unfortunately. If your stick causes your opponent to lose their foot.
Yeah, not when the guy skates into you and knocks down. But, I mean, puck now here to the point. Comes to Pullen. Shot deflected off the pad there by Carson. Comes back to the point here for Tran, who winds, waits, sends it down for Marion. She centers that one, and it was not able to be knocked in there by the Dog in the slot. Pullen, just being watched here by Mendham. Stops up on the half wall. She has her head up, elects to turn and take it into the corner where she found Carson and eventually cleared out there by Mendham.
Carson getting enough on it to clear the puck out of the zone and allowing the Inferno to put some pressure on. Want to be careful they don't get overextended here.
Agira Thobel now over the blue line. Takes a shot. That goes far side. Dogs looking to set up this PP2. Ooh, Pullen takes a tumble, but able to get back on her feet and win the puck. And you see the wry smile on her face as she collides with the veteran Lucy Parrington on the blue line.
A little bit of push and shove between those two on a couple of occasions now. Back in the defensive zone for the Dogs is Gallagher, sending it up to Butler. The Dogs' top line now out for the remaining 45 seconds of this power play. It's on the stick of Cochrane, who's forced back by Mendham. Gallagher over to Johnson. Across the blue line, drops it here for Butler. Takes it wide on the backhand, cuts to the front of the net. Cochrane backhands that one and steered aside by Carson. Butler now in the corner.
has the puck taken off her stick by Dutton. Chips it up to Crawley, kept in there by Gallagher. Butler winds, keeps it, shoots, misses the net, but the captain, Godfrey, collects it for the Dogs. Centers that. Cochran on the backhand, glove saved by Carson, and the Dogs still keep it in. Here late, Cochran winds, stick lifted, and the Inferno survive. Or do they? Meisner here with speed, fresh legs, gets it over to Crawley. Gets that past Johnson. And the Dogs now forced just to keep it away here behind their own zone as they go 0 for 2 here on the power play. Here's Braun Cashin, stick handling, but just mishandled that one and wasn't able to keep it in. Dogs looked dangerous on that power play, didn't they, Carl?
They certainly did. It was a very high-intensity thing, but the Snipers, the Inferno, they kept their cool and managed to clear the puck out when they needed to.
Parrington centered that. A nice stick save by Best, making her 8th of the game. Johnson just waits up behind her net. She's being watched there by Kelly. Still with it is Johnson. Push that up to Godfrey, who's able to squirt that forward to Butler. Godfrey going to the net, finds her, comes back to Cochran, shoots, and scores! Steph Cochran puts the 3rd goal on the board, and the housemate line each have one.
You can see this play across the ice there. It wasn't an awful lot that Carson could do in that situation with 3 of them coming along. They were trying to put as much pressure on them as could, the Inferno, but there was just too many skillful bodies there who can shoot, and you can't mark all of them.
When you look
all the way across, all Carson could do was watch it go into the net.
Veteran play by Steph Cochran. Check this out on the CCM All-Out replay. Puck comes back, and just as Godfrey crosses the eyes of Carson, Cochran releases that puck.
It was a beautiful screen.
Carson would not have seen that at all. And just like that, Cochran joins the party as she, Godfrey, and Butler each have one, and the Dogs are up 3-1 here early in the second period.
Of the 3 of them, Cochran is the one who has scored considerably the least number of goals. So perhaps the Inferno just giving her a little bit more room. But again, in that particular situation, with such a beautiful screen, there was nothing Carson could do.
Cashin shovels that forward. On the puck there is Gagnac. Crawley just gives it back to Meisner, who loads up and feeds Kelly. Cashin just gloves that down, but right onto the stick of a Dog, so no hand pass, and here comes Aguirre-Thabo. In on the offensive zone, takes a shot, hits the legs of Dutton, who will just look to stop this up and find a teammate, and she does, right on the stick of Crawley, stolen by Grigalunas, though, and the Dogs still on attack. Aguirre-Thabo was looking to center that, but no one was in the slot area, so probably a bit fortunate not to spring the Inferno the other way.
Bronwyn under pressure there at the top of the defensive zone. All she could do was clear the puck out. It was the right decision.
Cameron shot that right on, and a rebound save here collected by Dutton, who just reverses it over to Yo-Yo Meisner. Cochran knocks that off her stick, but Meisner picks it up and walks right into Butler, and here's Godfrey in front to Cochran, back to Pullen, winds, shoots, and that was a shot pass as Godfrey shoveled that right into the pad of Carson. Yates just pushed that forward. The race is on. Parrington's going to get there first. She curls away. Yates goes straight to the net. Pullen steals the puck off her, though, and the Dogs are out now 4 wide. Marnie Pullen takes it outside, centers it, and just knocked off the stick of Blondin. Yates stretches that forward. The Inferno goal scorer, Mendham, had that stolen off her by Godfrey, who skates in, stops the forecheck, takes a shot, and shoots that just wide. Butler with speed, though, able to pick up the loose puck, tied up there by Mendham. She's only going to be able to get it as far as Pullen. Pullen's got plenty of space here, elects to pass it off to Butler. Butler has Pullen, gives it right back to her. She'll wind, send it down to the corner, over for Godfrey. Dogs setting up here on attack. Tran on the point. Down to Cochran, intercepted here by Blondin, and she's able to get that out of the zone, and the Inferno will be looking for a change if Pullen's not able to spring this attack the other way.
The Inferno pretty desperate to get that change. They've been stuck under a lot of defensive pressure. It starts to add up through this second half of the second period. There'll be some pretty tired legs.
Marion was able to get that deep. Dutton forwarding up to there to Cashin. Over to Mendham. She's got Kelly with her, just runs into Johnson there, and that gave enough time for Niamh Gallagher, the one they call Nugget, to get over and exit the zone. Meisner just trying to turn something into attack, use her speed. Silky through the neutral zone, takes another move, gets on the forehand, tripped up as she went in for attack. And there's going to be a penalty as Yo-Yo Meisner comes close here in the second period.
With 8 minutes to go in this second period, the Inferno with the first power play for them of the game. They've had to do two penalty kills so far, but now it's their opportunity to go a player up and see if they can convert this one. We do know the Dogs have a very effective penalty kill. They often have scored throughout the season quite a number of short-handed goals. But this is Inferno's chance, and they want to get one back here pretty quickly. They need to set up their play, and they win the first face-off. That's so critical.
So right back to Meisner here. She shovels that deep, but no Inferno player on the half wall. So Grigalunas now is going to have time if she makes the right play. Still with the Dogs. That's Cameron shoveling it up. It's kept in by Meisner, just keeping that away from Gagnac. Puck sent down the length of the ice, though, by the Dogs, and first to it will be Georgia Carson, captain of the Inferno. Shoveled up. Kelly just leaves it for Cashin. They enter the zone, but stolen off Danny Butler, and she's the dangerous one here on the penalty kill. Nice move. If she gets a little bit of space, she'll take it. Butler over the blue line, offside, and just leaves that and allows that to go in the net.
Godfrey was just caught just a smidge offside there. The referee and linesman saw that one quite clearly. Godfrey probably a little bit disappointed with herself, but that's what happens. It runs a little more time off the clock. Not too much, no, just a minute to go on the penalty for the Dogs, and that's not a bad thing to do. It does kill more time, which is what they want. Inferno will want to get this moving, but at the same time, they're tired legs. So it's a bit of a zero-sum game here for them, for the Inferno at the moment.
Dutton here for the Inferno, just electing to feed that up to Mendham, who just shoveled it forward to Parrington. They enter the zone here with just under 45 seconds remaining here on the penalty to Briar Johnson for tripping. Puck tied up. It comes out to the veteran Parrington, getting it back to the point for Dutton, looking for traffic in front of the net, sends it down to Yates, in front to Parrington, who wasn't able to shovel that on. Rimmed around, it's going to be kept in by Blondin. She gets that past the forecheck of Godfrey, but only onto the stick of the great Danny Butler.
Just 30 seconds to go now on the penalty.
Puck behind the net, it comes out in front and covered up by Bess. So Briar Johnson will be joining the attack on the puck, the drop of the puck.
You can see here at this face-off that Blondin just had a quick look over at the penalty box. She knows that Johnson will be coming out, and the two Inferno defence being very alert to that, because occasionally the player comes out of the penalty box, picks up a stretch pass, and is a one-on-none. But you're not going to catch the Inferno out on that one. Blondin quite aware of the threat. But if the Dogs can get the puck deep quickly, then that's a great opportunity for them as Johnson comes back onto the ice and ignores the puck that came right out in front of her and skates over for a change. But anyway,
so the Inferno are 0 for 1 here in the game, as they needed that to get back in, trailing by 2, 3-1 here to the Dogs. Danny Butler walks out of that corner, pops out in front for Kelly, not able to get that one on net. Cashin battles in with Tran. In comes Marnie Pullen, who just kicks it forward. Butler picks up that loose puck and stretches it over to the captain, Godfrey. She'll enter the zone with speed. She's got Cochran going to the net, goes through the legs of Blondin, takes a shot and saved there by Carson, who's down, and what a stick save there by Tanya Crawley as Cochran was shooting that into the open net.
Yeah, Blondin just get a puck through her own five-hole as she was back-checking on Godfrey, and Godfrey took advantage of it to create that opportunity. But as you say, great piece of little bit of luck, but you need that at times by Crawley to get a stick in the way.
Yeah, that knocked off the stick of Dutton. I'm not sure if we'll see that on the CCM All-Out replay, but the puck just squirted loose there on Carson, and it came out to the slot area right onto the stick of Steph Cochran, and she saw nothing but net and backhanded that, and it was a nice swipe by Tanya Crawley to knock that away and keep this a 3-1 game. How important will that be? Only time will tell.
That will certainly be figuratively in the game, but Crawley, a little bit of luck, but you need a little bit of luck in this game, and she certainly had it that time.
Stick lifted there, Mendham, and she will try her best to exit the zone and can't. Coming in here is Marion, and Yo-Yo Meisner lifted her stick and now will use her legs to get out of danger. Agira Thabo shovels that deep into the corner. First to it will be Gagnac. She's got Marion sitting in front of the net. Parrington comes in for support behind the net, shovels it up there for Yates, turned back, and Parrington now will go to the safety of her own net and just rim that around over for Carson. Missed her, though, and Briar Johnson now will enter into the offensive zone. Agira Thabo on the backhand, brings it to the forehand, shovels that in. It's loose behind the net. Poke check there by Carson and sent the other way.
Was not quite able to get onto that puck was Marion. She's in great position. The puck was loose. You can see the Inferno desperately tired. They want this period over fairly quickly to get that long break with the cut. They've just about run out of legs, and you can see that's resulting in just a bit of sloppy puck handling. As you get tired, your skills drop off.
Well, fresh on the ice here are this top line here for the Dogs, and Cochran just ties up Meisner. Parrington, though, wins out with the puck, and she's got Yates, although the back check here by Johnson and Cochran, outstanding, and Cochran comes out with the puck, just not able to feed Butler. Mendham, the goal scorer, misses one check, comes in just a little too hot on that one as it rolls in on Best, and she'll cover up for a face-off here to her left.
Best not going to miss that one, but every now and then one of those dribblers that you take from a long way out sometimes sneaks through a goalie. They can get a little bit overconfident and think, oh, yeah, I've got this, I'll play it or something, and every now and then find out that their goalie stick has a hole in it about the size of a puck. It's pretty rare, but if you put the puck on the neck, it sometimes happens, and in that instance, overshooting it, not as bad as undershooting it.
So puck sent up to Godfrey. Takes it over to the neutral zone, into the offensive zone now. Drops it there for Butler. Has the puck taken off her stick. Crawley on the far side wall now. Wines, keeps it away from Butler. Cochran, though, steals the puck off her. Now will walk out of the corner, but a great poke check there by Cashin. Godfrey, nice little toe drag. Another one. Backhands in front there for Cochran, and not able to hit the net.
Crawley once more just managing to deflect that puck away and clear the zone, which is what the Inferno needed. They're desperately trying to stay on their feet at the moment. You can see how the Dogs are coming in waves, and they're just faster at the moment.
Butler with speed, cuts in front, takes a shot. Carson is down and able to cover up as Danny Butler turned on the Jets.
Just the speed difference. Every time the Inferno are getting the puck, they're being swamped by 2 or 3 Dogs. And at this point in the game, the longer line is starting to pay for the Dogs. And as I say, we've got the long break coming up between 2 and 3, where there will be a 15-minute break for an ice cut. The Inferno will get a chance to reset. There's still only 2 goals in it. It kind of feels like the Dogs have got a lot more, but they don't. The Inferno absolutely well and truly in this game. If they can survive the end of this period with just 2 goal deficit, they'll come hard in the third because they'll have a chance to recover and play like they did in the first period.
Tran just stopped up on the blue line, shoveled that deep there for Gagnac, tied up by Carson, who eventually gets it out of the zone. The big thing, if you're the Inferno, you got to be saying, we got to get pucks on net. 11 shots after 2 periods is not enough when you've got a great goaltender like Kayla Best down the other end.
Harrington's going to do 2 for interference.
She knows. She had the little nod of the head. She knew exactly what she was going for, and she'll be sitting here. And actually will roll out into that final period as she goes for interference.
And so Marnie Pullen there, the recipient of a fairly clear body check, but no one injured, of course. But with 30 seconds to go in the second period, this is where the Inferno, all they need to do is just survive this first 20 seconds of the penalty kick. If they win this face-off, it's a key one. They don't, but they do manage to put the puck deep into the corner. But this is where the Inferno need to kill the clock and just get this penalty over, or at least as much of it as they can. And
Cochran walks out of the corner here. She leaves it for Pullin. 5 seconds remaining. Pullin goes cross ice there for Butler, and that should be it. As Pullin had a lane, elected for the pass, and just missed Butler, and the period ends 3-1 here in the grand final at Reservoir Ice HQ.
So that second period, mostly Dogs. The shot count for them 9-5 in that second period. The ice absolutely sloping in the direction of the Dogs. But the Inferno doing a great job to stay in it. It was a very challenging period for them. The Dogs towards the end of it really owning the ice, and that's just it's a factor of fatigue. You can see that with the short bench, with just the 2 lines that the Inferno have, they're really getting swamped. But they're doing a great job of staying in it and fighting for it. And we're going to have an interview in just a moment. We'll be cutting over to Tarina Lee, who looks like she's grabbed
Janelle Carson,
which is a great one for her to get for an interview. And we'll just get an interview there with them in just a second. Carson keeping the Inferno in the game, doing a great job too as their captain. She's a great leader and she picks a good team. So we'll be having that in very shortly. But they will be starting the third on 90 seconds of penalty kill, the Inferno, which is not the start that they want, but they will have a chance at least to get fresh and ready. So we'll just wait for them to get ready. And so just putting something on the rink, but we'll forget about whatever that was. And then we'll cut over to them as soon as they're ready.
So we're here at the PWL Grand Final, heading into the third period. I've got Georgia Carson with me, captain for the Inferno. What were some of the biggest challenges in the last period there for you guys?
Having 10 players. It's so hard to skate with 2 lines, and I think having a lot of our offensive pressure out, we had to sort of rethink our strategy, our tactics, and having to sort of turn on a dime when we've got low legs is really important. I think we did that okay.
Yeah, definitely. You've been keeping up the fight out there. I can see that for sure. How's the atmosphere been on the bench in that last period as well? Obviously,
really good. So the goal really gave us a lot of energy. Even when they scored one back, we didn't really drop it. Everyone's still hyping each other up on the bench. Every time there's a good play out there, we're jacking each other up. So it's still really like all the Inferno vibes are still well intact, even with half a team.
Awesome to hear that. And what adjustments do you need to make going into that third period, you reckon, to push towards that W?
A couple of lolly snakes in the room, I think, will help rejuvenate the legs. Just, I think, trying to maybe stretch them out a little bit more and take advantage of their weaker D. Just jump in there and try and push them as hard as we can until the very end and see if we can pick one back.
Amazing. Thanks for having a chat with me, and good luck with the next period.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Tarina, and obviously thank you to Georgia Carson there for taking her time to have a quick chat. Well, I'm sure she wants to go in and have a chat with her teammates.
Quick question for you, Carl. Natural Company or Allen's when it comes to your brand of snakes?
I don't do brand names. But CCM stuff is very good.
No free ads. Yeah, I think definitely going to need some legs. Hopefully they get the sugar from Natural Company. That's my brand of snakes. Happy to go for a brand deal if Natural Company is listening.
Whichever particular flavour of glucose it is that you flavour, it's all the same chemical. But regardless, we will have a break now. We'll be back with you for the third period in about 10 minutes. So we should be back with you at 8:35. Give or take 1 or 2, we'll certainly be live on the program. So don't go away. We're back with you for the third period, where the Inferno will be trying desperately to chase back a 2-goal deficit, which, as anyone who watches much hockey knows, 2 goals is not enough to bank on. It's way too tight to put down your glasses and say it's all over. The Inferno absolutely in this. They'll come out in the third with fresh legs, but on a penalty kill, and we'll see if they can claw one back early and turn this one into a real contest for the Ice HQ Women's Pro League Grand Final. We'll be back soon.
Confidence.
Where does it come from?
Why do some have it more than others?
How can young players find it?
How can beer leaguers get more of it?
How can pros keep it?
It comes from being 100% comfortable with your gear.
Because it's only when your gear feels just right.
Do you have the extra confidence to go all out and play to your fullest potential?
CCM knows that when you feel your best,
You play your best.
That's why they design, engineer, and test
the smallest details to feel just right.
So when you lace up your skates,
Put on your helmet, flex your stick.
or put on your pads,
You might not know why it feels right.
And that's okay. Just know that CCM does.
and they got the art down to a science.
So now everyone can feel more comfortable wearing CCM gear.
And feel more confident in taking their performance to the next level.
When you feel your best,
you play your best.
because when things feel just right,
Who knows where your best will take you?
This game is our canvas.
Our choice, our freedom.
It's my way.
And mine.
And mine.
And mine.
It's the only way.
the ice doesn't discriminate.
It doesn't see color or gender.
All it sees is 60 minutes of pure effort.
A pure fun.
On the ice, we might be enemies,
But in the end, we're all allies.
This game's for everyone.
no matter who you are,
No matter where we're from, we're all ready to hit the ice.
Confidence.
Where does it come from?
Why do some have it more than others?
How can young players find it?
How can beer leaguers get more of it?
How can pros keep it?
It comes from being 100% comfortable with your gear.
Because it's only when your gear feels just right.
Do you have the extra confidence to go all out and play to your fullest potential?
CCM knows that when you feel your best,
You play your best.
That's why they design, engineer, and test
The smallest details to feel just right. So when you lace up your skates, put on your helmet,
flex your stick.
or put on your pads.
You might not know why it feels right.
And that's okay. Just know that CCM does.
And they got the art down to a science.
So now everyone can feel more comfortable wearing CCM gear.
And feel more confident in taking their performance to the next level.
When you feel your best,
you play your best.
because when things feel just right,
Who knows where your best will take you?
This game is our canvas.
Our choice, our freedom.
It's my way.
And mine.
And mine.
And mine.
it's the only way. The ice doesn't discriminate.
It doesn't see color or gender.
All it sees is 60 minutes of pure effort.
A pure fun.
On the ice, we might be enemies.
But in the end, we're all allies.
This game's for everyone.
No matter who you are,
No matter where we're from, we're all ready to hit the ice.
Confidence.
Where does it come from?
Why do some have it more than others?
How can young players find it?
How can beer leaguers get more of it?
How can pros keep it?
It comes from being 100% comfortable with your gear.
Because it's only when your gear feels just right.
Do you have the extra confidence to go all out and play to your fullest potential?
CCM knows that when you feel your best,
You play your best.
That's why they design, engineer, and test
The small
Welcome back, everyone, to the Ice HQ Ice Rink here in Reservoir, Melbourne, Australia for the Ice HQ Women's Pro League Grand Final. We're about to get underway in period 3, the third period, the final period, unless we go to sudden death overtime, which could yet happen. It's by no means is it all over. We'll be starting the third period with the Dogs with a 3-1, so a 2-goal lead. But the Ice absolutely tilting in their favour in the second half of the second period. Lucy Parrington will be starting the third with 1 minute and 40 seconds of penalty to kill for the Inferno. She'll be sitting in the box after a bit of a careless body check on Marnie Pullen. Marnie Pullen had a bit of a grin on her face when it happened, but so too did Parrington. But unfortunately for both of them, it was right in front of the referee. They said, no, Luce, you can sit too. Sorry, matey. That's how it is. So we'll be starting the third that way. Gossie, what can the Inferno do to turn it around?
Well,
they've got to do something, haven't they?
You heard Georgia, the captain, talking to the bench. They were running out of legs. I think they were trying to fuel on some sugar and some snakes there in the dressing room. But if you're me, I'd be looking at who's got the legs on the team, and I'd be putting them forward. You and I talked off air just now about the effectiveness of Meisner on the back, generating offense. If we get halfway through this third period, it's all or nothing tonight. Maybe you got to throw her up forward and just try to get her in more advanced positions.
Absolutely, you've got to roll the dice, haven't you? If you keep doing what you're doing, it's not going to work.
At the end of the day, though, it's going to mean nothing if you can't stop the big line of the Dogs. So, listen, it's not a place you want to be in if you're the Inferno, down by 2 against this formidable Dogs team. But as you said, 2 goals can blow by pretty quickly. You're 1 away from being 1 away, right? And that's what we're looking at.
That's certainly one way to put it. The thing about the 2-goal lead is that the team with the 2-goal lead often gets a little bit complacent, and the team with 2 goals behind knows that it's not that far away. 5 goals, different story, but with 2-goal lead is a precarious one, and lots of teams on lots of levels of this sport have had 2-goal leads and thrown them away. And the Dogs need to stay on their game. I think they will. They're pretty hungry, but they've also got unusual deep combinations tonight, which they haven't used before, and that does open up a couple of weaknesses. Carson did point out that the Dogs do have one defensive line that isn't quite as strong as the other 2, and they're going to see if they can take advantage of that. Of course, they've got to keep the Dogs out themselves first, and that's the number one task, because all of the housemates line tonight, Godfrey Cochrane and Butler have all scored a goal tonight, and they'd like to score more.
Well, Kayla Best has what she wants, a 2-goal lead to protect, and she doesn't let in more than 2 quite often, but here comes Danny Butler through the neutral zone, tried to backhand that, but had it knocked off her stick by Meisner. Yates is going to tie up the leading goal scorer in back-to-back seasons as she sends that back down to the captain, Godfrey. The Dogs working on the fresh ice here on the power play. It comes back to Marnie Pullen, Defender of the Year last year, getting it down there to Godfrey. She centered that, and out to it is Cochrane, who sent it back to Pullen, who goes cross ice to her captain. Godfrey just holds up as Butler used the body in front. Nice move by Godfrey. She takes a shot, but shot that over the net as she gets tied up in front by Dutton.
Dogs are very patient there on that initial part of the power play. The penalty still running. It's got a few seconds to go on it now. Well, it looks like it's jammed up on some part of the system. But regardless, the puck played out now by the Inferno, doing a good job of just maintaining their composure. They are a player down for the first 100 seconds of this period, so they can dump the puck all the way down the other end, and they do.
So just over 30 seconds remaining in this Dogs power play. They are 0 for 2 on the night. Danny Butler has that stolen by Cashin, and Britt Mendham just shot that wide, their first chance of the period.
The Inferno choosing to stack a deep forecheck on their penalty kill. It's brave, but they need to be. They can't afford to sit on their heels and let the Dogs bring it to them. They've got to try and put some forechecking pressure on them and force early mistakes and turnovers.
Sharna Godfrey just crossing over, building speed to that neutral zone. Has looked to drop that to Butler. Cashin stole it momentarily, and Britt Mendham collects that, and the Inferno kill off the all-important first power play of the third period. It's still on the stick of the Dogs, though, and it's Sharna Godfrey centering it to Butler. They score! Danny Butler putting another nail in the coffin as she scores her second of the grand final and put the Dogs up 4-1 here in the third period.
See here on this replay how Butler just coasts in behind Parrington, who just come out of the penalty, but she found herself in a beautiful position and with an unpressured shot right over the left shoulder of Janelle Carson. So we now have a 3-goal lead to the Dogs. It's now 4-1 to the Dogs. That makes the Inferno's job a little bit harder. Not impossible. They will have to throw caution to the wind, but that does open up lines behind them as well. So that's what they've got to do. They've got to get a goal back, and they've got to get it quick.
Puck poked forward there by Blondin. Back there to Kelly. You know, if this were the NHL, if you'd want to call it, you know, Coach Nicholas Druga might be wanting to look at a little bit of line matching now and trying to get his greatest offensive players up against the quote-unquote weaker line there for the Dogs, because right now they definitely need to score and build some momentum. Puck comes out, and there's Marion! Takes a shot, saved by Carson, rebound, and another save by the Inferno goaltender. Cochran, fresh on the ice, wasn't able to keep that in, and Tanya Crawley forces Briar Johnson back in her own zone. Johnson, head up. Remember, she's such a great star for her age and so composed, being a revelation on defense this season. Be interesting to see what she does for the Ducks.
Certainly, well, we're looking forward to the Ducks in the AWHL Exhibition Series coming up in November.
Butler looking for the hat trick. She scores! Hats off to the leading lady, the leading goal scorer in the regular season. Potts in her third, and surely that's enough to bring the trophy home for the Dogs.
Let's just see what happened here on the replay. It was a beautiful piece of balance. She managed to get screened again and then follow the puck into the net. It's one way of making sure of it is to follow it in. But beautiful play there by Butler, and she, as you say, Gossie now has 3, the housemates line, doing the damage that we suspected that it would. And the Inferno really starting to pay for that fatigue. They're trying to slow everything down, but they have to throw caution to the wind. But when you do that, you do open up those opportunities behind you.
So puck here on the stick of Yo-Yo Meisner. The Inferno really up against the wall here, down by 4 here with 13 minutes remaining in the third period.
The one player who doesn't know the word quit is Lucy Parrington. And by golly, she is putting a lot of pressure on. She showed that leadership when she played in the Ducks games last season as well. And she is fierce and fast, and she will not give up. She's got Yates as well going in on the forecheck on the Dogs trying to steal the puck. Yates going in and pinning, pulling onto the boards, but guess who goes and gets it? None other than Butler, who is now breaking up the ice, and she's got Godfrey streaking on the far side, and with her Cochran on the other side. It's the housemate line coming in again, but they are denied this time.
So Mendham now the other way. It's 2-on-2. Yates is going to go to the net. Mendham just bounces that one in and knocked aside by Best.
Yates there ran into Paige Cameron, and that's a brick wall you don't want to hit too often.
Cameron just fanned on that pass, but Yates wasn't able to pick that up, and the Dogs now will look to get on the attack through Aguirre Thabo. Marion on her stick on the near side takes a shot off the pad there of Carson, comes onto the stick of the captain, Georgia Carson, who shoveled that forward looking for Kelly. Lucy Parrington sends that deep, and first to it will be the superstar Marnie Pullen, who just lobs that one high. Glove down there by Carson. Has it on the backhand. Centers it for Kelly and knocked away there by Tran. Cashin now with the delayed penalty. And it's going to go the way of the Inferno. And the penalty will be Georgia Carson, the captain, who will sit for 2 or less.
Carson there is being penalised for hooking. I didn't see it myself, but now the Inferno with a numerical disadvantage. The Dogs will be looking to get one quickly. They get the choice of which side they want to take the face off. So watch for them to put it on Aguirre Thabo if she's taking the centre ice, put on her forehand, and maybe try and get a shot from the face off. Or no, she's going across onto her backhand. So she's going to look to try and play the puck back up to Julia Tran, who's pinched in quite close. That does give the Inferno an opportunity if they can win the face off and get behind her. And they do win the face-off, but it comes back to the Inferno, who played out of the ice, but just waiting for it was Pawn, who just dumps it back in deep for the Dogs. They don't have to do too much. They do have a commanding lead now, 5-1, 4 goals the lead, so they can cruise if they want, but I don't think that's in their DNA.
Puck sent out there by the Inferno all the way down the ice. The Dogs are 0 for 4 tonight, and here comes Marnie Pullen with speed. If she can evade Cashin, who knows what'll happen. All dangerous players out on the ice, leading 5-1. Marnie Pullen winds, shoots, and shoots that wide.
And Pullen's been a great defensive player for the Dogs. I'd have to say she'd be my number one choice as a defensive player throughout this series.
Cashin
Pullen's been outstanding.
over to Cochrane, shot that right in the legs of Dutton. You know, she's also been paired up usually with Taylor Nelson, who misses out tonight. She's also been outstanding, and those two together definitely have been the top two demon.
Cashin there, just
and the hands up
with
so
Cameron.
So we will get another penalty to the Inferno the minute they touch the puck. But the Dogs fine going 6-on-4. Puck on the stick now of Cochrane. She'll cycle that down for Butler and intercepted there by Dutton. And off to the penalty box will be Braun Cashin, as the Dogs will have a small 5-on-3 opportunity for probably about 20 seconds or less once the puck gets dropped.
For this one, this is one of those face-offs which is absolutely critical for the Inferno to win. If they can win this and send the puck all the way down the other end, flick it down to Moe, then they're in with a good chance of trying to kill this penalty, but they must win this face-off if they
Smart
can.
veteran play there, all just changing positions. Who's the centerman? Kill a few more seconds off this one. And just like that, only 5 seconds remaining here, but Godfrey winds up and a howitzer just goes over the top of the bar. Grigalunas shovels that deep down for Butler. Butler back to Grigalunas. She's got Cameron top of the point.
We're back to 5-on-4 now.
Grigalunas just will cycle back now, take a shot on, looking for that deflection in front by Godfrey, using her body to take that zone and screen Carson.
So Inferno clear the puck out of the zone. Good for them. Gets Godfrey out of the slot where she was well camped. But it's Butler. And Butler gets her
looking
out too,
for
but
four fans on that one. Winds up now, and a great tracking save there by Carson, as the little bobble by Butler nearly worked in her favor.
Well, she got 3 shots out of one play there. She gets the first one, goes in, gets a second rebound, and gets a third rebound on that shot. But unfortunately for Butler, but fortunately for the Inferno, there was a Carson in the way, and she managed to get enough body on it each time to prevent it going where Butler would have liked it. She's not going to get 4 on that play, but a lot of opportunities. Still on the penalty kill, the Inferno. 5-on-4 now for another 50 seconds.
And the faceoff was won there by the Inferno. It's on the stick of Dutton, who just lobs that one all the way down the ice, right on net for Kayla Best.
Best has Kelly going in to try and break up the attack. Kelly being just blocked a little bit there with some creative defensive play by Grigalunas. Just not quite interference. It's a borderline thing, but she can get away with it. Oh, but Parrington gets a foot in the way and keeps it in again. This is where the Inferno have to throw cautiously in. Poppy Kelly tries to keep it in deep, and she's got help. And that's Parrington breaking it all up for the Inferno.
Parrington has such drive and determination. She's played well here for the Inferno and wins that puck battle, and it comes back here to Dutton, who just sends it over to Meisner. She'll shovel that deep for the veteran Parrington to give chase. Walks out in front. Kelly rebound. Puck's loose. Pinching his Cashin fresh out of the box, and the Inferno try to claw one back, but still not able to beat Best.
Cashin came charging in like a bull out of the gate, and she's just been pushed out of the slot there with a big battle with, once again, Paige Cameron, the player that she got fouled off early.
All this pressure started with the forecheck of Lucy Parrington, and now Dutton's going to have a chance. Takes a shot. Save there by Best. Comes back out in front and stolen there by Grigalunas as she's pushed back behind her net by Cashin.
Cashin was a good player in front. Created a good screen, but unfortunately then Best got her body in the way, and that was enough.
Poppy Kelly's open if Dutton can find her. Just pass that behind her, and it now get picked up here by Mendham. In on the attack, knocked down there by Butler. Both players go crashing in behind the net. The puck's underneath one of them and now pops out there for Cashin. And as it's touched up by Butler, we've got a face-off as it looks like we've got an injury to Britt Mendham.
Mendham sitting in the corner. She hit the boards pretty hard. We could hear it from here without the microphones on. So hopefully she's all right. She gets back onto her feet, which is good. But partially that will also be fatigue. She's got to be absolutely exhausted. 6 minutes to go in this third period. 5 goals to 1. The Dogs with a 4-goal lead. The Inferno will have to do some sort of magic to get this one, especially if they now lose Mendham. They've got their physio out on the rink, just making sure that she's okay. But it looks like she is just a little bit slow to get back to her feet. And the Dogs don't mind the clock ticking, as the clock has not stopped. We'll get underway very shortly, but that's not what the Inferno need. This will, if Mendham can't back on, she's their scorer, and she's also dynamite, and that also shortens their line to 9 players, which certainly doesn't help with 5.5 minutes to go in the third.
So that face-off won by Butler. She'll shovel that over there for Godfrey. Just evades that check of Crawley and skates that out looking for Cochrane. So a lot of the energy out of this in the third. The Dogs won't mind it, though. They look to be cruising to their second straight championship here in the PWHL.
5 minutes now to go. 4 goals the lead. It's not insurmountable, Gossie, but it's a big ask. I don't know if the Inferno can do it, but they're not going to give up. And one player who certainly won't, as we know, is Parrington. She's as a leader that you want on your team.
Godfrey was crashing the net. Butler just sent that back to Gallagher. Over to Cochrane. This line has been outstanding for the Dogs, scoring all 5 goals. Butler in front for Godfrey, shoots and she scores. The captain adds to her tally as she gets her second of the game, shooting that top shelf where they keep the cookies from the kids.
So another unmarked player situation there in the slot. Godfrey just being able to get behind. I think that's just Carson there who couldn't get back in time. No, that was Blondin, I think, who just couldn't quite get back in time to cover Godfrey, who was surging through and just saw the puck and just tossed it over the shoulder of Carson. There wasn't anything she could do about that one. Not at that range with that quality of a shot. 6-1 now, 5 goals the lead, 4 minutes to play. Can the Inferno get one back? Get one back now, and they still a chance, albeit slim.
Puck on the stick of Garrett Thabo. Will be interesting to see what Curtis Klooster does here for the Dogs late in the third period. Up by 5 if he, gives a little bit more ice time to this second line.
Well, they haven't had an awful lot. It's been pretty even, but one thing they haven't been able to do is produce many goals. Pullen's been mainly the scorer, I think, and she's like playing D, and she's been the one who scored goals more than the second line for the Dogs. So the Dogs have been dominated by that housemates line. We know how good they are.
Johnson, though, on attack here. On cue, takes a shot, blocked there by Dutton, who just evades the forecheck of Garrett Thabo, and now will look to skate it out herself. She chips that up to Poppy Kelly, who goes centered in for Cashin. Cashin comes in on Johnson and shovels that deep for Mendham. Great to see her back out on the ice.
Mendham just fanned on the pass across net, was looking for Kelly, but couldn't get enough on it. Now Kelly going into the corner to pick it up. She's
going
got
to the net
in the slot.
Yeah, Britt Mendham was there, and Cashin instead looks to cycle that back down to Kelly. Poke check there by Gallagher, and Kelly then pins it up there to the boards. Just under 3 minutes remaining here in the third period. A 5-goal lead for the Dogs in the grand final. Cashin comes out in front. It goes all the way over for Yo-Yo Meisner. She takes that behind the net. Just lost it last minute, but Bodies battling in front, and a little bit of fatigue there as Yo-Yo Meisner lost it, and that was cleared down the length of the ice, and it will be icing.
So the Inferno, they're tossing 4 players forward, just trying to apply relentless pressure on the net, and it was pretty close to create a good scoring opportunity. There was a lot of bodies in the front of the net, which makes it very hard for Michaela Best to see what's going on. But what it does mean, if the puck gets behind him, then it's only 1 to beat, and Dutton was in a hurry. But it didn't matter. Unfortunately for her, it was going to be an icing. But that's what the Inferno are trying to do, just toss everyone at the net and the puck and see if they can create something. Parrington going deeply now into the corner, and she's got Yates in the slot, again trying to make space.
Puck shot, cross ice, pops back here to Blondin. Interestingly as well, the Inferno, they're also missing Stringer.
Yep,
so quite a few bodies that have been so good this season, and probably part of the reason why we're seeing a 5-goal lead here for the Dogs.
You can just see that pressure that the Inferno are putting on the slot. They're just trying to throw the puck out the net with bodies in front of it and see if they can make anything happen. And they've actually created a couple of good chances.
Carson kept that one in, and it comes down to Parrington walking out, takes a shot, she scores! Lucy Parrington puts one in and gives something for her team to cheer about here as she claws one back. The score 6-2 with just a minute remaining here in the third.
See that pressure that she put on the net and cycling around in front. The Inferno were trying absolutely everything they could. The Dogs eventually swamped there by numbers. I'm not sure that Parrington actually got that one. It might have been a tip in or a deflection, But regardless, that's what they needed to do, and they did it. But it's going to be all a little bit too late. They're not going to get 4 goals back in 50 seconds.
Not
but
much
they can
you
get
can
another
do
one.
if you're Caleb Best when it goes Bardowski.
Not from that distance with that much pressure on that much of a screen as well. You've only got so much body. But the Dogs now looking to run the clock down. Just 40 seconds to play.
A little bit of pride there for the Inferno, and you can see it's gone straight to the legs as they go in for another offensive opportunity there by Mendham. Back, though, is Tran. 30 seconds remaining. You can see the Dogs players on the bench all know they are seconds away from their second championship and will remain undefeated in the Pro Women's Hockey League. The captain, Godfrey, just skates that in. Dutton stole it off her leg, and we start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Listen to that. The Reservoir Dogs score 6-2 here against the Inferno and win their second straight championship. Well done here for the girls.
It was an outstanding effort all season, and they have dominated throughout the entire year. They had one loss a couple of weeks ago, and it's one of those things where you can make the case that maybe it was a loss they needed to have. Sometimes teams, they win through hot and they end up like Boston did 2 seasons ago in the NHL, finish on top of the ladder and looking really good, and then blow out. But the Dogs this time, that didn't happen for them. They've come through, and that housemate line has scored relentlessly throughout the entire season. Godfrey, Butler, and Cochrane getting one this evening. Reasonably unusual for Cochrane to get the goals. Normally she's the playmaker, but she was beautifully positioned and picked up a nice pass and shot it past Carson, who had no chance at all. No way she saw that one coming. A consolation goal in the end. Lucy Parrington, who else? Was great to see her. It was from Carson and Crawley after some really intense pressure in that last 2 minutes where the Inferno threw everything they had at the net and just tried to swamp the Dogs with everything they possibly could and throw the puck at the net. It's high risk, but it paid off in that instance, and Parrington did finally get that goal that they desperately needed. Halfway through the first, it looked really tight. It was 1-1 after Mendham got one back from Godfrey, and with 11.5 minutes to go in the first, it was looking pretty tight. Just a 1-goal lead to the Dogs at the end of the first. But Cochrane got that beauty in the second to take it out to a 2-goal lead when it's still pretty close. But I think in the interview that we had with Georgia Carson, where she made the point quite clearly that it's very difficult when you've only got the 2 lines, that it was always going to be fatigue that started to run them down towards the second half of the second period, and in the third you could just see that they were waiting for pucks, where the Dogs were there in numbers. And it wasn't until that last couple of minutes when they just threw all of their last remaining energy at the game that they managed to claw back one desperate goal. But it was a great spectacle, and it's been a great season. And here at Ice HQ, we're enormously proud of the Women's Professional League. It's great to have them here. It's the second season that we've run this program, and we're looking forward to doing it for many years to come and provide female hockey players with the same opportunities that the boys get.
So we're moments away from the awarding of the trophy, which will be done by official Mark Farello. The Dogs, they'll just be wanting to run it back again. And when you can protect 5 and 3 of those 5 or 4 of those 5, when you think about it, are Marnie Pullen and that coined housemates line that you call them. It's very difficult.
That's a line which really is a national standard line. That's a line you'd put on your national team, and to fend against that in what is essentially a club competition is pretty incredible, and that's really what we've seen. So those 3 are just outstanding together on the ice. Because it's a shame we didn't have Christina Julian. She would have made a big difference for the Inferno because she's a great scorer, as we know. 2 games and 7 goals, and she was outstanding. Well, what a great game, Gossie, by the Inferno too, given the constraints that they were playing under.
Yeah, Lucy Parrington, absolute great goal there. A little bit of consolation. They were able to get that one in the first. But we'll be back, and it'll be interesting. You talk about that housemates line. They all play together on the Melbourne ice.
Yep.
We're going to get a chance to see them here against the Melbourne Ducks during this exhibition series.
Certainly will.
It'll be interesting to see if the Ducks can be a little bit better than the Inferno at stopping those 3.
Well, they know what to look out for, and they're certainly prepared, and it will be some of their own teammates from the Dogs playing against them. So I'm
going to get out there and maybe see if we can get an interview with one of the players, and I'll leave you to chat to the guys here for now.
No problems. Thank you very much, Gossie, for an outstanding effort too, calling the games throughout this season. As always, Gossie is a world-class, I would have to say, one of the best play-by-play callers that we're very privileged to have here at Ice HQ. We'll have the presentation done in just a moment. There's a great big trophy there being held by Mark Farello, and it will be handed over to Shana Godfrey, the captain of the Ice HQ Reservoir Dogs. and she's done a great job of picking the right team. It does come down a lot to the draw. These teams are all picked from a draw at the start of the season, and you've got to pick players who, amongst other things, actually show up every week. It's not just a case of necessarily picking the most talented players, but also the players who are available. As you saw with the Inferno this evening, they struggled with just the 2 lines. The Dogs with 2.5, 3 lines, and it does make a difference. Doesn't necessarily have to be the superstars, but if they show up every game and they're here, and you've got fresh legs on the ice in the third, it makes such an incredible difference to the way that you can continue to play the game and resilience against injuries and all those other sorts of things, which seem obvious when you've been here for a while. But it really is a key part of the team is the selection at the start, getting that draw right and picking the right players. We're just getting a photo now of the Dogs in front of the award, but I've got to continue to pay tribute to the Inferno. They had a great game. They were swamped by numbers, but that last 2 minutes was some really exciting hockey when they threw everything they possibly could in front of the net and just piled it on, and eventually they managed to get enough of a shot into the net to actually get past Kayla Best, who had been superb. She had a great night, but shots on the net for this game, it just tells quite a story. In the first period, it was 12-6 in favour of the Dogs. Second, it was 9-5 in favour of the Dogs, and in the third, 9-5 again. 30 shots in total to the Dogs as the scorer sees it, to 16 for the Inferno. And at the end of the day, to an extent, it's a numbers game. If you get shots on the net, some of them are going to go in. And if you just don't get enough on, then it doesn't matter how good they are to an extent. You've got to be able to get the puck past the goaltender, and that happens by piling on enough shots to increase your chances. Every shot has a possibility of scoring a goal. Gossie looks like he is going to get an interview with, I think it looks like he might have Lucy Parrington or possibly Britt Mendham, which will be a good one, and we'll cut over to the interview now.
Alrighty, Carl, thanks. I've got Yo-Yo Meiser here. Great game today, always quick out on the ice. Tell me kind of like what was going through today. What kind of went well or what went wrong, I guess, in the game?
I think we had the right mindset. We all entered into the game really positively, but we did have a really short bench, and I think the fatigue did get to us. But we played good. We could have done some things better, but oh well.
Hey, look, you know, at the end of the day, like if we knew what was going to happen in hockey, sport wouldn't be fun, right? You guys did a great job to get here on the for the grand final. Looking at yourself from last year to this year, like a lot of people talking about how you got a lot better speed, a little bit better decision making. What have you worked on the last year?
Well, I have been to Canada, and I have been working on my hockey. So I think maybe all of my skills have improved slightly. So yeah, and my game sense has improved because I did play quite a few games in Canada. So I think my decision making is a lot better now.
Awesome. Well, they do say there's something in the water that just makes good hockey players over in Canada. Wink. But we look forward to seeing you come back next season. You guys are great job. Hopefully you do one better next year. Thanks for the chat, Yo-Yo.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you, Gossie, there for that quick chat with Yo-Yo, who's did spend a bit of time over in Canada.
Thanks, Carl. All right, then we'll go chat to some of the Dogs over here. Obviously, they had a hell of a season. Captain Sharna Godfrey. First year's captain, second time champion. What's going through your mind over here?
Not a lot. We just knew what we had to do. So we just came out here and had fun, and just let the skill do the job for us, really.
I have to say, you guys always look like you're having fun. I mean, we're obviously right over there. You guys are usually here at home, and before the game starts, there's always the music. You always see all the girls on your team always jamming out, getting the dances going on, like pretty loose. You guys think that that kind of fun energy is really what gets that excitement out there and scoring the goal?
I mean, look, this is pre-season for a lot of us, so obviously we want to come out here and have fun. We don't want to, put ourselves in any position where we're going to get injured or, I guess, not enjoy the game. So, yeah, we just try and enjoy ourselves and just, have some fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Sharna. Tonight, as Carl coined you guys, your housemates line all on the score sheet. Do you guys go home and talk about the highlights, see who scored the best goal at the end of the night?
We argue over Denny not passing the puck. Nah, kidding.
All right, awesome. Well, go home. You'll have plenty to celebrate tonight. Thanks a lot, Sharna, and enjoy the evening. All right, Carl. I'll send it back to you. You heard it there. What a great season we've had here at the Pro Winter League. Dogs, second-time champions.
Absolutely, Gossi, and thank you very much there for picking up those two chats, in particular with Chana Godfrey. He makes a good point that this is really our pre-season. It's the same thing we do with the Men's Pro League. It leads into their the AW or the AIHL seasons, and there's a great opportunity for these teams to play at pretty close to the intensity they will be playing in their National League just coming up for them. That season will be starting in November, and the Melbourne Ducks will be playing 8 exhibition games in this coming season for the AWIHL as well, and will be great to see them here at ISHQ, as well as a couple of interstate games too, for they'll be travelling for the first time as a team, which is a great opportunity for them to travel around the country and play a little bit more hockey. We also have coming up over summer the Men's Pro League, and that will be starting up again in a couple of months. And the boys come in to boys are back in town as they get themselves ready to come in for the following season. Sorry, over Christmas and the New Year's and so forth. And that's a full contact league for the boys, a great opportunity for them to really pick it up, and you will see some of the best ice hockey players in the state will be playing here at ISHQ on Friday nights for the Men's Pro League. And as we have been discussing, the Ducks will be playing 8 more exhibition games in the Australian Women's Ice Hockey League coming up over November and starting in November. And a lot of the players that you've seen playing here this evening and throughout the Women's Pro League will be playing in the Ducks or the Melbourne Ice, and it is a great privilege for us to see them up close and get a chance to see that national level players here in our home barn having a lot of fun and providing us with some great hockey too. It's been a real privilege bringing this season to you again. So on behalf of Gossi and myself and everyone here at ISHQ, thank you for being part of the stream and enjoying the shows that we've put on for you and all of the games we've had. We hope we've informed, entertained and kept you enthralled with the game of hockey, and we're looking forward to bringing you back to you just as soon as we can. I can't wait for the next season to start. Bring it on.